You picked off Peyton Manning. That's something a lot of people forget. What was it like to pick off, one of the great quarterbacks of all time?
If you get an opportunity to get interception, take it. There's a chance for you to run it for a touchdown, take it.
On a throw, and it's intercepted.
But me, what happens after I got that interception? What if I would have scored? Guess what would have happened? I would have had to go right back on the field less than 3 seconds. So that was not happening. So an interception is an interception for me. Go get some water, get ready to go back on the field.
We are reliving the greatest moments in Bills history through the eyes of the legends who created them. This is Bills Legends Breakdown presented by Windows 11. I'm Steve Tasker, and I'm really pleased to be joined by Buffalo Bills legend Ted Washington. Ted, thanks for taking some time to be here.
Thanks for having me, Steve. It's always a pleasure.
You are one-of-a-kind player. You were bigger and stronger than most players ever thought you could be or thought anybody could be. You moved like a wide receiver. You're a former wrestler. You could move like a running back. You stopped the run. You rushed the passer. You were virtually unblockable one-on-one. They called you Mount Washington for a reason. How do you describe yourself as an NFL player?
Well, I try to be the best at what I do. And with the guys I had on the line with me, you try to keep up with them and their status, even though I was no sack master. But with the linebackers I played with, you want to at least have the same amount of tackles as those guys, and I just had to do what I had to do.
And a lot of people don't realize you played for some of the greatest coaches of all time. You were drafted by George Seifert in San Francisco. You played under Marv Levy while you were here in Buffalo. Wade Phillips you played for here in Buffalo and in Denver. You won a Super Bowl under Bill Belichick. Talk to us about what those great coaches had in common and what they did to help you become your best.
Well, you named all Hall of Fame coaches, and just the teaching that they brought to the game, the knowledge, and let me do what I needed to do to be a better player. And, the relationship I had with them, it was great. They understood my style of play and let me do what I had to do.
Well, you came here to Buffalo in 1995, and that's really I think when your career really took off. You set your career high in tackles in your second year here. Then in your third year, you made your first Pro Bowl. Did anything change for you as a player when you came to Buffalo?
Well, I had to prove a point because when I got traded from San Francisco to Denver, I realized how serious this business was. And having Wade Phillips as a coach in Denver, and, seeing that he was leaving Denver, and then it's like, I'd like for you to come on to Buffalo with me. And knowing that somebody really wanted you there, I jumped on that wagon, and the rest is history.
One of the big changes that came for you here in Buffalo is you had a chance to play with the all-time sack leader in Bruce Smith. You had your best sack totals along Bruce in 97 and 98. You had 4 sacks each of those years. And I know he's a special cat. What was it like for you to play alongside Bruce, and you look back on it, he had more sacks than anybody in the league ever?
It was great playing with Bruce, but, behind the scene, Bruce did his thing when he wanted to. Bruce wanted to run a stunt on 1st and 10 against a running team, and no, I wasn't with that. So at times I had to put Bruce in check and had a lot of fun with Bruce. And until this day, I see him. I'm going to be that same guy when I first met him back in '95, joke around with him, get on his nerve, and that's just how that was.
Listen, there is no other position like nose tackle in the entire world. You wind up lining up right across from some center almost every play, all game. Were there some centers that you remember playing that had some kind of rivalries with you? I know the center was virtually never one-on-one with you. He always had help from somebody. But is there any centers that you had a lot of respect for after your matchups with them?
I respect all players, but if you ask me who was one of the best centers that I played against, I have to give that to Demonte Dawson because he was quick, smart, a technician, and at times when he catch off guard, he'll hit you in the mouth. And that was one of the guys, and he never trash talked. But all the other centers in the AFC was trash talkers, but you had help, and I still give you the business. So I respect them all to a certain degree. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Ted, listen, you were a complete player as well. You stuffed the run, you got after the quarterback. Nobody ever talks about your ball skills. I mean, you picked off Peyton Manning. That's something a lot of people forget. What was it like to pick off, one of the great quarterbacks of all time? And how did it happen?
Well, see, I didn't see it as picking off a Peyton Manning. If you get an opportunity to get interception, take it. There's a chance for you to run it for a touchdown, take it. But me, what happens after I got that interception? What if I would have scored? Guess what would have happened? I would have had to go right back on the field less than 3 seconds. That was not happening. So an interception is an interception for me. Go get some water, get ready to go back on the field.
Okay, so you were obviously, when you were here, you were a huge fan favorite during your time here. You're a true Bills legend. I still see occasionally those 92 jerseys with your name on the back. I smile every time I see it. When you think about Buffalo and the Bills Mafia here in the fan base, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a nose tackle that competed with my defensive ends and my linebackers in trying to make tackles. We tried to outdo each other, but we wasn't selfish. We knew we had to do against opponents, but we was battling against each other to see who get there first. And that's the high for us of the game during those years. And to see the way these guys are playing now, it's like they're bringing that back. And you can't wait till Sunday to play. And I'm assuming they still practice the way we practice. And that was really the blessing for us.
You're a 4-time Pro Bowler. You're a Super Bowl champion. In my opinion, you're the absolute greatest nose tackle to ever play. There's never been anybody even in the conversation with you, in my opinion. And I hope that someday there's a place for you in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right next to Bruce and right next to all those other guys. Ted, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.